and welcome back to Soul with Danelia. For those of you who don't know, I'm Danelia and I am a graduate recruiter and tech recruiter, and today I will be asking some of the burning questions that graduates had for me. You may be wondering how I got these questions, so I created an anonymous Google form and I shared it to my LinkedIn and my Discord server where graduates could put their questions on, and in this video I will be answering. Before we get stuck into the questions, so I received a lot of questions and some of them were repetitive, and students obviously had similar questions to each other, so I grouped them into certain themes and that's how I will be answering them. So please don't be too worried if you don't see your question verbatim here in this video. The other thing I want to make mention is that the responses to these questions are based off two things: my opinion and the fact that this is what I've seen happen in industry. So different recruiters might say something else, and I'm just letting you know that this is my opinion and my response based on how I've experienced the industry and how I've seen things happen. So my first one is not really a soft skill, but more of a trait, if I could say: passion. If you decided to get into tech for the money, which I've noticed these days a lot of students do, you will fall behind somebody who is passionate about tech, because passion is very prevalent to recruiters, as we notice it in the interview, we notice it in their portfolio. Beyond just their schoolwork, they're building projects, they're going to hackathons, they're getting Udemy certificates or whatever it may be because they want to learn more about tech and this is what they love. So passion will always be picked up, and you really need to be passionate about the thing you're pursuing. And if that is tech, you need to be passionate about tech. So while it's not really a soft skill, that would be my first point of advice. The rest are, and I know it's going to sound a little bit redundant because a lot of recruiters say it, but it's in fact true. So collaboration. You need to be able to work with other people. Regardless of the profession you're in, you're going to work with other people. So you have to be able to have that skill. And typically in the interview, sometimes they ask, do you prefer to work in groups or alone? There's no right or wrong answer to that, to be honest. They just want to know if you're able to do both. So can you collaborate with your peers and your colleagues? And also, if I were to give you a task as a hiring manager, will you be able to complete it independently? So that is very important. Collaboration is very important as a soft skill. And then there is communication. You may be technically fantastic, a phenomenal developer, or a phenomenal graduate, whatever it may be. But if you are unable to communicate your ideas, unfortunately, it means very little. So work on your communication skills. You might even be technically proficient and able to explain technical concepts, but remember, in the workplace, you're not only working with technical people, you're working with people like myself who are non-technical, who are just recruiters. And you might have to, push an idea over or explain to me a particular recruitment process and how you're seeing it going. You also work with business analysts, project managers, finance people. So you need to be able to communicate your ideas in ways that others understand. Another important skill that we often take for granted: time management. Unfortunately, when you're in the workplace, you're just going to be given a deadline, sometimes with little to no instruction at all, but you're expected to solve it. And at the beginning, it may pose a challenge, but as you become more equipped both with knowledge and know-how, you get better at it. Hence, time management is super important. Unlike school, where you can ask your lecturer or professor for an extension or something happened, in the workplace, that just doesn't fly, because now we have client commitments and your piece of work contributes to a larger piece of work which somebody needs. So time management is very important, and some people will want to work their 9 to 5, and that's completely fine. But my piece of advice to everybody that's up and coming: nobody ever got ahead just by working their 9 to 5. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, be prepared to put in the hours, because people will notice that. And it's not just about spending long hours and saying, oh no, I was working until 2 a.m. It's also about the quality of work you put out. So as much as you're spending 5 hours on a task, Is it worth spending 5 hours on a task? Can you do it better, more efficiently? Was that particular task worth even your 5 hours, or were you just wasting time? So time management is a really, really important skill. And as a junior, maybe solving a bug can take 2 weeks. If you want to progress, you need to get better at that. So maybe when you become a senior, solving the same kind of bug will take 2 days. So time management, very, very important. As you progress in your career, you can't be spending the same amount of time doing the same task. You need to get better at it. And beyond that, it's managing tasks, because you don't get one task at a time. You get multiple things that you have to deal with. So being able to understand what is required of you and how much time you need to allocate to each task. Time management, a very, very important skill. And oftentimes you see that people cannot manage their time. They're working extra hours. They are just chatty people in the office. So along with time management comes into my fourth one, or rather fifth, discipline. You need to be a highly disciplined individual if you want to get further in your career. Even just as somebody starting out, you need to be a disciplined individual in the sense that you know what you want, you're prepared to work for it, you are prepared to set a certain number of hours on your weekend to learn this new skill, because you know it will equip you for whatever job that you're going into or whatever task you're working on. So a very, very high sense of self-discipline is extremely important, because if you don't have discipline, then you won't be able to manage your time, you will be late on task, and your teammates are going to look at you funny. So it just relays into a lot of different things. You have to be highly disciplined. And of course, that comes with also, if you are working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, you need to leave like 4 or 5 hours for yourself to do things you enjoy. Whether that's cooking, whether that's going out with your friends, watching a movie. As much as you're a high disciplined individual, it doesn't mean you need to be switched on all the time. And the same goes for when you are a student who's applying for jobs. Sure, set 2 hours a day to look for new jobs and apply for them. Be disciplined in what it is you do, because the truth is, new jobs come up every other day. You need to be the first ones to apply for it, because the recruiters typically look at the first few applications that come in. So be disciplined. Be disciplined in the sense that you check your emails every day, because I've seen it time and again. I send out invites for interviews, or please complete this assessment, no response. Why? Because people don't make the habit of checking their emails. So discipline is a very, very important soft skill. So thank you. I appreciate you watching this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.